The people are still trickling in, so we'll start in probably about 2 after. So, but again, if you could just write your name in the chat, that'd be awesome, just so that we can just keep attendance and keep abreast of everyone who is attending on today. Um, So we'll give it about one more minute, a minute or two, and we'll go ahead and get started. Again, thanks everyone for hopping on today. If you could just go ahead and put your name in the chat, just so that we can keep a small breast of everyone that is attending on today. And we'll be getting started shortly. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I do want to be respectful of everyone's time, and we do have a lot to cover, so I am going to go ahead and get started. As people trickle in, we are recording today's session, so at any time, if you missed anything, this will be posted, and you definitely can go back and look at it at a later date. So this definitely will be available to you. So first, thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully everyone has had a great day so far. Thank you all for joining us at National Louis for our webinar, which is going to be introducing you all to our university for our spring quarter. So we're going to be providing you all with some content that's just going to help you be successful throughout your first quarter, as well as going to be able to utilize that information throughout your time at National Louis as well. So to go ahead and get us started, I'm going to introduce all of you all to our Vice President of Student Affairs, Aurelio Valente, and he's going to give you all a formal welcome. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce him to you all at this time.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I'm going to pull up a quick PowerPoint that will guide my welcome. And I always start by saying welcome to my second favorite day. Of course, my first favorite day is graduation, but in the same way that graduation is full of celebration, orientation or the first day of a new chapter, whether it be transfer or graduate school, is always one with hope, optimism, a sense of things to come. And I certainly hope those are the feelings you're sharing today. I am just thrilled to be here. I have done nothing more than work in higher ed, and there's no more joy in this world than contributing in some small way to your experience and your success as a student. I bring that passion to this work because of my own experience as an immigrant to the US, and my own experience as a first generation college student. So, one of the things I like to do is engage you in some dialogue. And I talked about being an immigrant. So I wanted to share with you where my story started. One of the things we ask students to do is share about their story. So it's only fair that we do that here. So this is, believe it or not, a picture of me. This is not the 1950s, believe it or not, this is in the 1970s. And what I want to do is to get you to start engaging in the chat. I want you to guess where I was born. I talked about being an immigrant. This is a picture of me, probably about 4 years old. And to give you a tip, I'm going to show you my passport so you can see the language. If you can tell the language, that might be a clue. So in the chat, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see the chat. Type in where you think I was born. And I'll tell you if you get, the winner, by the way, will get some NLU swag. Venezuela, close, but not the right continent. Not the right continent, so go more towards the west. Okay, Jessica, Spain is close. Spain is really close. So if you're not going in a direction of France and Spain, there you go. So Kyle, you and Jay Robles, I can't tell the first name, but what I would love for you guys to do, I'm going to give you my email address. You both send me your mailing address and what size shirt you would like, and I will make sure to send you some swag, excuse me. So congratulations for being among the first to win an NLU contest. As I mentioned, I was also a first-generation college student, and I remember being in an auditorium thinking, can I do this? What I didn't realize is I was asking the right question. Will I do this is the right question. Will I use the resources on campus? Will I leverage mentors? And I have to tell you, I had that same doubt, not only as a freshman in orientation, but 30 years later, when I went to get my doctoral degree, I sat at Florida State thinking the same thing. And what we do at NLU is do everything we can to make sure as new students, new transfer students and new graduate students, that if you have those doubts in your head, that we want to make sure you answer yes to these two questions. If you are ever answering these two questions, and you're not, if yes is not the right answer, the answer that comes to your head, please reach out to me, reach out to anyone. We have hundreds of people who used to commute, but now log into work, and they're all here to help you succeed. And that is something I'm really proud of this institution. So I wouldn't be a dean if I didn't leave you with pieces of advice. The first one is please, please, please check your email. Even if you prefer to forward it to another account, be sure to check your NLU email. I usually recommend 3 times a week. Consider an on-campus job, an internship, and yes, you can even get one being remote. It's a wonderful way, if you have the time in your schedule, to get connected to the institution. And then stay connected. You're going to meet orientation leaders, you're going to meet mentors throughout the first 2 weeks. Stay connected, because that's how you're going to move through the process without feeling isolated. It's so much easier to succeed when you know you're not in this by yourself. And I know I said 3 pieces of advice, but hey, I'm not a math major. I'm an education major. Stay safe and be healthy. We, of course, have to add that. I encourage you to get a vaccine if you haven't done that yet. This morning, we sent out information on how you can get that. If you are in Florida, you should be able to access a vaccine on April 3rd. And if you are in Illinois, you should be able to access that on April 12th. Please, please stay healthy. As I mentioned, please connect with me and with the institution. Get connected to Eagle Life, our student involvement app. Call our 1-800 number. Check our support. If you have any questions about COVID, please let us know. There are plenty of ways to get help and to get connected to resources. I know that you're already doing that by being here today. So welcome and thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Valente, for providing us with that warm welcome. Hope you all feel welcome so far as we continue on with our webinar. Before we get started, I do want to give the opportunity for you all to at least meet one other individual while you are here. So we're going to break up into just a few breakout rooms, just so that you have the opportunity to connect with at least 1 or 2 other students here while you're on this webinar. We know that Usually we like to do things like this in person, and we know when you're in person, you get to meet multiple of other students, but we want to make sure that you able to leave here, connect with one other student, at least get a name or email or even social media. So I'm going to break you guys up into a few breakout rooms, and within that breakout room, we just want you to introduce yourself by, your name, your major, and pretty much what brought you to NLU. Was it a change in career, or did you want to enhance your career? What is the story behind what brought you to NLU? So we're going to go ahead and use a few of our breakout rooms so that you can connect with one other student. We will only be breaking out for about 4 to 5 minutes. And then once we come back, we'll go ahead and continue on with our webinar so that we can provide you all with all the awesome tips and tricks that we want to give you all so that you guys can be successful here. Okay? Give me one moment to do so. All right. So we're going to about 8 breakout rooms. We want to make sure everyone is in a room. Looks like. All right, we have about 8 rooms. We have about 2 people in each room, so you'll have the opportunity to connect with that one person. And so we're going to go ahead and break out. And like I said, we'll be back in about 4 to 5 minutes. Hello. You're on mute.
Hi.
Hi. So right now we're just doing a quick icebreaker. So I'll go ahead and put you in a breakout room just so that you can connect with someone really quickly. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was looking for the email to, well, the link, but I realized it was in my Gmail and not my, the NLU email. So I
Really?
was
You
kind
should
of
have
like,
went to your NLU. It went to your Gmail.
yeah, so I was looking for 20 minutes and then I couldn't find it. So I started looking through my Gmail, just looking through emails, and I was like, oh, it was there. So
Oh, well, no
that's why
worries.
I'm,
You're here with us now. You haven't missed
okay.
much.
All right. Yeah.
We are taping this, so you can definitely go back and look at it if you need to.
All right. Excellent. Thank you.
All right, so I'll go ahead and put you in a breakout room. We're only breaking out for about 3 more minutes, okay?
Okay.
We have a few more people still chatting, so as soon as everyone gets back, we'll go ahead and get started. Perfect. So it looks like we have just about everyone back. I see we have a few more people showing their face, so hopefully you all got the opportunity to connect with someone. You know, statistics say that, you know, when you're able to connect with individuals and lean on individuals, you know, able to feed off, you know, other individuals, especially classmates, you tend to do better. So we're happy to be here to help you build your network of different individuals that you can lean on while you're here. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so we can go ahead and get started. Okay. And at any time, if you cannot hear me or if you cannot see the screen, please let me know, and we'll definitely fix the issue at that time. So today we're going to be talking about tips and tricks for online classes. We know we are living in a remote environment right now, so most of all of us are attending classes online. So we want to make sure that we're providing you with the tips and tricks that's going to help you be successful. We're also going to provide you all with a live demo of D2L. That is definitely going to be a component that you're going to use a lot, and so we want to make sure that you understand how to utilize that system. We're also going to talk about online modules. When you receive the email about attending today's orientation webinar, you should have also within that email received information about completing the modules. So I want to make sure that I provide you with all the information that's going to help you navigate that. I know some individuals have had questions and all of that. So I want to make sure that I provide you with the content that's going to help you navigate the modules. Also, we have one of my colleagues from student finance. She's going to be here as well, and she's going to provide some information on student finance. We're also going to talk about involvement opportunities, and then we're going to leave the end of our webinar to you all so that you guys can ask me as well as my colleague any questions that you might have. So before also I get started, I just also want to just mention you know, our response to COVID. As of right now, we still are continuing classes remote for the spring quarter. At some time, hopefully within the spring quarter, we will definitely provide you all with information of what summer as well as fall is going to look like. But right now we are remote. And as Dr. Valente said, we are encouraging you all to receive the vaccination once it is offered to you. You know, the more people we're able to get vaccinated, I'm pretty sure that will definitely have a lot to say with how fast we can get back into the classroom. So, you know, that is our response to COVID right now. If you do have any questions or want to know more information about that, you all did receive an email, I believe, today, but you can also go to the site on the screen as well, and it also will provide you with some additional information around our response to COVID and what we are doing centered around COVID. I will say that for the spring, we do tend to, you know, if you do live in the Chicagoland area or the Wheeling area or surrounding areas, we do plan to have some in-person programming in the spring. That programming will be RSVP only. So once you do see that that programming happening and you want to attend those and kind of get familiar with the campus and just come see what the campus look like, you definitely can attend those events once they are offered on our website. So first, we're going to talk about tips and tricks for Zoom. I'm pretty sure most of you all know something about Zoom because you're on Zoom right now, but just to kind of give you some additional content about Zoom and what we're going to be, you know, utilizing it for. We want to make sure that you guys know the different ways to access it. Most of the time, when your professor or your instructor provides you with the link, they're either going to provide you with a whole entire link, which will be https ./nl.zoom.us with numbers. So you can easily copy and paste that into any internet browser that you have, and it'll take you straight to the Zoom. Or sometimes they might only provide you with the Zoom ID. And so if you're going to utilize the Zoom ID, you would go to Zoom. Usually at the top, there's a button that says join the meeting, and you would just put those ID numbers in. So either one of those ways is the best way to launch Zoom. There's no right or wrong answer. Right or wrong way. They both will take you to the correct place that you need to be, which will be your class. At any time, if you are having issues, we do have a 24-hour help desk that will help you at any time. That's helpdesk@nl.edu. So that's the website, but you can also call them at 866-813-1177. Okay. And just also to reiterate, if you do attempt to join a meeting before your instructor has logged in, sometimes the instructor does have it so that you cannot join until she opens it. That's totally fine. Usually right on the dot of the time, they will open it up, and then it will allow you to come in. So, during that time, if you need to wait for your instructor to open it up, that's the perfect time to test audio, just to make sure all of your components for the Zoom and for your class is working properly. So I would utilize that time while you're waiting on your instructor or your professor to open up the Zoom, to just make sure all of your audio and test all of your audio at that time. A good thing to note is the control panels as well. If you look at your computer right now, look at your Zoom at the bottom, you see a lot of different functions. And so it's really good to know what each one of those functions are for, just to help you navigate class. Because even as a participant in class, you never know when you might have to utilize those as well. So the first one is the mute button. I always tell people, unless you are speaking, just have yourself on mute, because even though you are quiet, a lot of times a lot of the background noise that can be behind you, it can just be you have the window up and it's windy. A lot of that comes up. Or if some of us have kids, or even if you have music in the background, a lot of that can be heard. So unless your professor calls on you, or unless you have a question, I will always say put yourself on mute and just take yourself off mute when it's time for you to speak. The next button is the stop video. So I'm the type of person where I think you get the best experience when your camera is on. So, I feel like when you want to be fully present in class, it's best to have your camera on. However, for whatever reason you can't, that option will give you the option to turn your camera on and off. So, if you know for a fact there's things going on and you don't want to be a distraction or whatnot, you can definitely turn your camera on, and that function that says stop camera, when it has a red slash over it, that will allow your camera to be off. All right. You also have the share, the new share function. So that allows you to share your screen. So at any time, if you are presenting a PowerPoint or presenting a project, your professor will give you the option to share your screen. So that'll allow you to share your screen. A good tip to know when it comes to sharing your screen, when you see the share screen, it'll be different pop-ups. So these are pretty much all the different, I would say, different areas on your computer that you have open. The very first box is always the best box to use, because that allows you to navigate your whole entire computer. If you pick a function that's for example, only your PowerPoint, it's only going to allow you to show your PowerPoint. And sometimes within a PowerPoint, you need to navigate, you might need to navigate to the internet, or you might need to navigate to something else. But if you use that first screen, that very first screen, when it says share screen, that'll allow you to navigate your whole entire computer. So I always tell students it's good to know that. It's something that I learned a little bit later on. So if I could share with you all that now, I think that'll be a great function for you all to know about. The next function is the chat function, and I think that's very important as well for staying in communication with not only your professor, but with your classmates as well. Sometimes within the chat, your professor is talking, and just to allow dialogue and to engage, it's always important to, engage and chat with your fellow classmates within the chat. You also have the option to share to save the chat as well. So sometimes important information can pop up in the chat, or your professor puts links in the chat, you can actually go to the chat. There's 3 functions. If you look on the screen, you'll see those 3 functions. If you press that, that will save the chat. So you can always, it'll save the chat to your computer. So you can always go back to the chat and, capture any links that your professor might have put in there. Or if you guys were having really good dialogue and you want to save that dialogue, you definitely can have that in the chat and keep that in the chat. Okay. Also want to just mention, you have the end meeting function. If that's something, if you are facilitating, you need to end the meeting, that will be that function. There's also some additional functions as well as the reaction functions, just additional ways to keep dialogue and to stay connected. So if someone in your class says something you agree with, you can always put the thumbs up function, or there's a kind of like a clapping hand function as well. Just these are all just ways that you can continue to be engaged when other people are talking, or if you just want to show that you agree or that you connected with them, you can always utilize those functions. Okay. So these are some, tips and tricks for just taking online classes that I think are very important. Number 1 is just treating an online class like a real course. I know all of us at some point would have preferred to be in person if your class would have been, but it's best, and even some of you all are just taking online classes. But just in order to get the full experience, treat it as an online class as best as you can. Treat it as a real course. When you're able to treat it as a real course, you're able to get the most out of the experience. Hold yourself accountable. If things are due certain days, set it up so that you are making sure that things are turned in at the correct time. Usually with online classes, you have discussions, and usually discussions are due at a certain time. So set aside some time to really dive deep into doing your discussions. Discussions are pretty much what you put into them. And so the more energy you put in them, the more that you're able to provide dialogue as well as be able to connect with your students within discussion. Also practicing time management, that's something all of us, I'm sure, could tackle that, is just making sure that we're setting aside time to do our classwork, set aside time, and, especially when, your class is a certain time, especially for individuals who have Zoom classes where you have to meet face-to-face on Zoom, just making sure you're setting aside time for that with no distractions. So that's eliminating distractions and making sure that you're having a regular study space so that there is no distractions. There's no one, walking by. There's no one, being in your space. Just trying your best to create a space and environment that you can learn the best that you can. And just try to stay organized as well. I would also say during this time, try to figure out the best way to learn as well. We all learn different, and some of us is trial and error, especially now with some of us not having had classes like this before. So just try to find the best way that's going to help you be successful and help you to learn the best way that you can. Actively participate. I mentioned before about keeping your screen on or keeping your face, if that's something that you can do so that your other classmates can see who you are, your teacher can see who you are. Utilize the chat if you don't want to, verbalize your responses. Utilize the chat. Or use the raise your hand function so that you can, say what you want to say. But if you can, try your best to actively participate. And also just leverage your network. NLU has so many resources that is available to you. So take advantage of that. Your professor is a resource, your classmates are a resource, and all of the different resources that we have on campus, they're all resources and they're all able to help you build your network. So definitely take advantage with that so that you can use as many avenues as you can to be successful. So really quickly, I do have a couple of chats. I'm going to just check the chat really quickly. Okay, thank you, Bridget, for putting that in there. So yes, just to reiterate, the help desk, if you need the help desk, it's helpdesk@NLU, helpdesk@nl.edu, and the number is 866-813-1177. And they are 24 hours, so they can help you at any time. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and just dive into D2L and the online modules. so that you guys can get familiarized with those systems. Okay. I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen and go to it on the computer just so that I can make sure that when I'm navigating, you guys see everything that we want you to see. Second. All right, can everybody see my screen? If I can just get a couple thumbs up just so that I can make sure that everyone sees my screen. Perfect. Awesome. So this is actually D2L, and you guys can just put in the chat, how familiar are you all with D2L? Has anybody utilized D2L maybe in your undergraduate program or you know, in your past school career? Has anybody used D2L before? And you can just put it in the chat if you have or have not. Okay, so we have a lot of people who have not. So this is, I'm glad that we are taking time to go over this since so many people have not been familiarized with D2L. So D2L is going to be the system that you're going to utilize that pretty much helps you connect with your professor. It's going to be the system that your professor uses to post assignments, give you content about your assignments, give you content about the class. All of that is going to be posted on D2L. It's going to be pretty much the best way that you can connect with your professor, as well as the best way for you to connect with your classmates. So you would use your portal information. So if you have your portal information, which is your student email and your login password, you would utilize that same information to log in D2L. So once you log in, it will take you to this screen. When you see the screen, every single class that you are taking for that quarter is going to be here. So each class is going to have its own I would say icon, and you press that icon and it'll take you to everything you need to know for that particular class. So we're going to start here. So we are using a demo. So let's say, for example, this was, for example, English 101. So you would press English 101 and it will take you to everything you need to know for that class. So this is NLU Student Online Demo Course. So it will take you here. At the top, you will see content, discussions, assignments, grades, other tools, student support. When you first get on the page, any announcements that your professor has will be displayed right here. So if it's, hey, you know, don't forget to turn in your assignments on you know, in 4 days, or there's an awesome webinar coming up and I want you to be a part. A lot of that will potentially be within announcements. So any major announcements that she wants to tell the entire class, that will be on the main page. Okay, again, if you need help or anything with D2L, again, we are always going to reiterate that you can always connect with the help desk 24/7. So again, that information is going to be on here as well. So at any time, if D2L is not working for you, you can always connect with the help desk. All right, so we're going to press content. Again, also let me know if you can see it. So now I'm going to the next page. Can everybody see that? Okay, perfect. So usually D2L is broken up by modules. So the modules is pretty much is catered to per week. So usually if the quarter is 10 weeks, then you'll have 10 modules, and it'll pretty much let you know everything you need to know, what you need to turn in, what assignments you need to read, or whatever you need for that particular week will be within each one of those modules. So if we went to this one, it'll say Module 1, Overview and Objectives. So within this, you would see Module 1, whatever the topic for Module 1 is, it'll provide you with some objectives. Those objectives will be anything that you're going to learn or going to get out of that particular assignment for particular week of activities, okay? It'll also include your assignments. It'll also include any readings that you might have. All of that will be within that module. Okay. And just to kind of bring you, just so that you can see some other things that are also under there. So browser of computer recommendations for D2L. This is also just providing you some additional information of how to navigate the NLU online campus. And then also your D2L profile, notification and account settings. That's some things that you can do on your own just to update your own personal D2L account. All right. It'll also take you to discussions. And also too, if you're looking for your syllabus will also be on discussion as well, on D2L as well. A lot of online classes utilize discussion boards. So usually discussion boards is when your teacher assigns, it could be assigned a question or it can be assigned a reading, and it's up to you to read that assignment and then answer any questions that she might have provided. You would answer those questions in a discussion, and then usually you'll have a couple classmates who will have to provide some content on your discussion, and then you will also have to provide some information on somebody else's discussion. So it's really important. I always tell people, I think sometimes people find it easy to kind of just kind of write something, but I think it's really important to dive deep into these discussions. Okay. I always tell students, you get out of discussions what you put out. So the more that you put into the discussions, the more you'll get out of it. So I've been in college before, and I've really dived into some awesome conversations in discussion and learned a lot in discussion. So try your best to really put some energy into your discussion posts. We also have assignments. So usually all of the assignments for the quarter will usually be on here. Some professors do it, as the quarter goes, but usually you'll see all of your assignments here. This also will be the way that you submit your assignments as well. So for example, if you see, essay 1, you would press this, and then you will have the option to turn in your essay, and you would turn in your essay by adding a file. At times, you potentially might need to record an audio or record a video, but usually you would just add a file, because even if you decide to do a video, you can still turn your video into MP3 and upload it as a file as well. We also have grades. So this would be the awesome way for you to see all of your grades. So they'll have how many points it's worth, as well as how many points you received. And so just some additional tools that you might want to know. Chat, that's a great way to chat with your classmates as well as your professor. You have your checklist. So usually anything that's vital to the class as far as a checklist, anything that's important, that will be there. You'll have a class list, some other important things. I'm only going to go over the really important things. If you need to create a group and you know that you're going to be having to work in a group, you can definitely navigate that on D2L. And there's also different ways for you to connect with other support as well. Rubrics for the different assignments that you might have, quizzes, all of that will be under D2L. So like I mentioned before, anything that's connected to your class can be found in D2L. And just to highlight student support, if you need to connect with a tutor, a library, or if you need ADA combinations, or even CareerBridge, all of that also can be connected to you through D2L. Okay? I would say when you have some time, and it's also part of the modules. So when you do the modules, I think one of the first modules gives you some time to kind of explore. So when you have some time, definitely get in D2L and explore so that you can learn how to just navigate your way before your classes start. Okay. So next thing I want to highlight is our Eagle Life. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Can everybody see my screen? It says Eagle Life. Does everybody see that? It says Eagle Life. Can I just get a thumbs up just so I can make sure? Perfect. So we're gonna go ahead, and I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. I just wanna make sure that everyone understands the modules. And within the chat, how many people have actually started their modules? And you can also just do a thumbs up if you've done your modules. Okay, I see 2, 3, 4. Okay, so hopefully by the end of this, I would have given you all the information you need so that you can go ahead and get started on the modules. There's very heavy, important content within the modules that is going to be very vital to your success. So we really want to make sure that you do the modules. And so I want to make sure that people understand how to navigate it as well so that you understand. And also, Eagle Life is really important as well. Anytime you want to know what's going on campus, or anytime that you want to know how you can get involved on campus, you want to always go to Eagle Life. So that's nl.presence.io. So always, I would say, you know, on your computer, just take advantage if you want to save that so that you can always go to it. We also have the app. You can go to any either Apple or whatever phone that you have, and you can download the Eagle Life app. So really quickly, I want to keep abreast of everyone's time. I just want to show you all just how to really quickly connect with Eagle Life, just so that you know how to navigate the modules. So you guys are actually going to be doing the new student online orientation. So at the top, I pressed opportunities, I went to experiences, and then you're going to go to new student orientation. All right, so you have about 7 modules to complete. And then if you are an education major, we do have an additional module for you as well. So, but you want to make sure that when you are completely done, you should see a green check on each one of these modules, okay? So if that is how you know that you have completed all the modules, when you see the screen like this and you see green checks across the board, that means you have completed all of your modules, okay? So just for an example, you don't have to do them in order, but you know, why not? So you can start here, you will go to that module, do everything that you need to do for that module. I do want to say, and I'm going to show you why it's really important, because some individuals have stated, well, I did the modules, but I haven't got credit. It's really important that you log in. Even though you can see all of this without logging in, it's really important that you log in, because that's how you're going to get credit, okay? So you're going to use your portal information, the same information you use for your D2L. You're going to use it for here. The only thing is you want to make sure you put in your whole entire email address. So if it's, for example, my email address is hwilson9@nl.edu. You want to make sure you write all of that, okay? So that's how you're going to be able to get credit. So this is one of the modules. You'll read the content. You watch the videos. Most videos are no more than 5 minutes. You'll read the content, you'll watch the videos. Once you have done everything with the modules, you'll go to the top, you'll hit the apply to earn button. The apply to earn will ask you a couple of questions. So for example, I just showed you what D2L is, which is desire to learn. We want to make sure that you know how to submit an assignment, post a discussion board, and attempt a quiz. So once you have went into D2L, explored all of that and done that, you'll come back here, click those check buttons to say that you've done it. All right, and then you'll hit submit for approval. Okay, once you've done that, you will have received credit for that particular module. Okay, so like I mentioned before, the module should not take you no more than 60 to 90 minutes to complete. You don't have to do it all at the same time. So if you start today, but hey, I don't have time to finish, you can come back tomorrow. But I would say, you know, if you can, just try your best to finish the modules before Monday so that you have all the information you need by the first day of school. Okay. Just really quickly, just so that you can know what's happening on campus, you can go to events, and that'll also provide you and let you know everything that we have on campus. So as you can see, we're going to be very busy this spring quarter, and we really want you all to be involved. So as you can see, we've already posted so much of what's going to be happening. So when you get some time, feel free to see what's happening on campus. A lot of our programming is virtual as well. So even if you live in Florida, or you might not live near the Chicagoland area, you could still be a part of those events as well. Okay. So I know some of you all have any questions, so I'm gonna just let Bridget discuss some student finance things, and then we're gonna go ahead and do a few more things, and then I will go ahead and allow you all to ask any questions that you guys might have. Okay. All right, so I have one of my colleagues on here, Bridget, and she's going to go ahead and go over some student finance things. She'll also be on towards the end, so if you have any questions for her, you can definitely ask her those questions. You can also put them in the chat, and I'm pretty sure that she will chime in the chat as well to answer any questions you might have.
Sure will. Thank you, Hannah. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to NLU. I'm just going to very quickly go over some of our highlighted student finance functions and some of the information. We have a lot more information in those modules that Hannah mentioned, so I just want to kind of do a brief overview. The first is going to be our payment plan options. So many of you may have used financial aid in the past, and maybe you're still interested in doing so. Maybe you're a first-time financial aid user. Maybe you don't want to use financial aid at all. You've been saving, or maybe you have a reimbursement plan through your employer, et cetera. So here are some of the options that we offer for payment plans in order to fund your education. So the first is just going to be term by term. So that just means that you're paying out of pocket each term in full, either by check, credit card, or of course, when we're back in person, cash. If you're using financial aid, which we'll go over a little bit more detail, both in the module and on the next slide, if you're using financial aid, you need to complete a FAFSA. So the FAFSA code is right up here at 001733. For the spring classes, you need the 2020-2021 FAFSA on file. And then for classes that start after July 1st, you're actually going to need the 2021-2022 FAFSA. So if you're completing the FAFSA for 2021, you might as well just, if you have the chance, complete the 21-22 because you will need that starting July 1st. Direct bill and tuition reimbursement, very similar, except that means that your employer is paying. So maybe you're working directly with an employer that is going to pay us directly, and they want to get an invoice and we send it and they send the money to us and you don't need to get involved. Perfect. If, however, your employer reimburses you, but after they see maybe a grade or at least a final completed class, that's great too. We can give you the tuition reimbursement. Either you can take your statement or whatever works for your employer. You turn that in, they pay you, and we give you 30 days then to pay us because we know that it takes some time to get that turned around through your HR department. If you are military connected and are using military benefits, either tuition assistance or veterans CD benefits, we also work very closely with both the Department of Defense and the VA, so we are happy to help you get that process started. Next slide, please. All right, so just a quick overview of the financial aid process at NLU. And before I forget, I will throw this out that I was in a breakout room with Stella and we were chatting just generally about the process here at NLU. And one of the things she mentioned, which is a great thing that I should remind you all, is that bills have gone out for the spring term. So many of you have seen spring bills go out and you're like, well, that's great, I haven't even started. That's just our billing cycle, unfortunately. So if you're using financial aid or if you're paying out of pocket or however you are funding your education, we aren't looking for any type of payment anytime soon because we know that the term hasn't started yet. We start posting financial aid in week 2 after the add drop period. So if you're using financial aid, you can look for that post then. But I just wanted to mention the bills because she brought it up. I'm like, well, if she brought this up, I bet other people have that same question. So if you have a bill from us that shows that you owe money for the spring term, no fear, we're not looking for you to pay it today or tomorrow. We have the due date that is due after the term starts. But Back to financial aid. So here's the NLU school code again, 001733. If you've used a FAFSA in the last year, you've used it at a different school, you do need to add that code so we can get that information. And then any student that is both fully admitted and registered for classes begins the financial aid process here at NLU. So we wait until you are registered for class and we award you what you are eligible for in financial aid. So I know Aurelio mentioned it earlier, but continuously check your student email. We're going to send all notifications there. We're going to send if we need additional documentation, that's going to go to your student email. Your award letter, when you are packaged with your financial aid, that's going to go to your student email. So I know he mentioned 3 times a week. So that would be a minimum for me. So, and it's not just us, it'll be every department on campus that will send stuff to your student email. So it's really important to check that all the time. And then you're also going to, if you are planning on using financial aid and borrowing loans, so not the Pell Grant, not the state grant, but student loans, you need to complete a master promissory note and entrance counseling with the Department of Education. So that's additional documentation that the Department of Ed requires in order for us to be able to post your money. So if you do have any questions about that or really anything else, you of course can contact us at any time. Here is, oh, and one last thing is that when you do accept your loans, we are an active acceptance school, which means that we need your permission to post your loans. Some of previous schools that maybe you've attended or previous schools that I've attended, they just post everything to your account. And you're like, oh, wow, I have this loan. Great. We actually want your permission because we really want you to make sure that you need not only the loan, but maybe not all of the loan. So maybe you only need like $1,000 to supplement what you haven't saved or what an employer isn't paying. So we don't want to give you all this money that you eventually have to pay back and not have your permission to do so. So you do have to accept your loans on your student portal. Student finance contact information. So when we are back in person someday, hopefully soon, we do have offices at the Chicago campus, the Wheeling campus, and we do have representation at the Lisle campus as well. But for right now, the best way to get a hold of us is to call that number below, which is 847-947. I'll put this in the chat too, 5350. And the email studentfinance@nl.edu, which is a general mailbox, and anybody that either answers the phone or answers your email can assist you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bridget.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I mentioned while I was going over Eagle Life and just going over the modules, I did mention, just different ways to get involved. And so throughout the whole entire quarter, pretty much weekly, we always have things that you can get involved in. And that can go from, just things that you can do that are fun, or even if it's just wellness opportunities or just ways for you to gain additional knowledge about certain topics. So I want to make sure that you know some of the key things that we have coming up just this particular spring quarter. The first week of every quarter is Welcome Week. So we do have a week long of events that we would love for you all to attend, and majority of those are virtual. So Monday, we do have a bingo bash. It's going to be at the lunch hour. So that's 12 noon Central Time and 1 o'clock Eastern Time if you're in Florida. It's going to be virtual. And so we are going to be having bingo. We do have some awesome prizes that we're going to be giving away. One of those being an Echo Dot. So definitely attend that if you can. We are going to have our first, I'm really excited because we have not been on campus for a very long time, but we are going to be doing a DIY word art project on Tuesday. That's going to be on campus at the Chicago. So you can definitely go on Eagle Life to reserve your spot for that. And then on Wednesday, April 7th, we are going to be having an intro to wellness kind of conversation. So if you're interested in that, please join us. It's going to be an overall synopsis of just intro to wellness, and also provide you with some additional information because we do have a wellness track, a wellness experience. So this is pretty much the intro to the experience. So if you're interested in that and just want to learn some different ways, even if it's just, just how to cope as a student, I would say definitely attend that. Also on Thursday, we're really excited about this as well. We have 2 new spaces on campus at the Chicago campus that we're excited about, and we're going to be having a virtual grand opening, and you can check that out on social media. But we do have 2 new spaces. One is our Unity Commons, so that's going to be a space. It's pretty much a diversity space where all of our different nationalities, everybody can come and just connect, and it's going to be a space for us to celebrate, a space for us to encourage, a space for us to provide you all with knowledge as well about so many things. our university is very diverse, and we want to touch upon all of that. So anything that you can think of as far as sexual orientation, race, gender, that's going to be a space for us to just come together and build community and celebrate as well. Also on that day, we have a new center called Central de Alexandria, and that's going to be opening up at the same time. We're going to be opening them up both at the same time. And then also, I believe tomorrow is Transgender Day of Visibility, but we're going to be celebrating that on next week. So we're going to be having a panel discussion on that on next week, April 8th. So come out and join us for that conversation. Again, we're going to be celebrating, we're going to be encouraging, but we're also going to be providing knowledge. So it's going to be a time for you to be able to learn. And if you have questions, feel free to join us for that discussion. And then on Friday, we're going to be having a movie night, and it's not going to be a virtual movie. We're actually going to be going to a movie theater. We've rented out a movie theater. And so if you want to be a part of that, you can also reserve your spot for that on Eagle Life as well. Just to highlight some additional things that's happening in spring, the whole entire month of April is Gender Empowerment Month. So we're going to be celebrating, encouraging, and educating all of you all. So check out different things that we're going to be doing around Gender Empowerment Month. May 3rd through 7th is Wellness Week. And then also for all of our transfer students, we want to provide a space for you as well. So then on April 20th and May 18th, we're going to be having transfer talks, just a time for us to build community, connect with one another, provide you all with resources, just so that you guys can feel more connected on campus. And then also Eagle Life. We have Eagle Life leaders as well. It's our leadership program, and we want to encourage all of our students to be a part of that leadership program. It's a time for you to learn different things as far as gender identity, some of those leadership assessment tests, we do those as well, teaching you how to work with others, so many things around leadership. We would love for you to be a part of that program. All right, and right before we leave, I created this a while ago, and it's just a checklist for success, just different things that I feel like you would need before class starts and even during class starts. So hopefully by the end of this, you will feel prepared to do your online modules. I will stay on after to answer any questions that you guys might have. Also log into D2L and explore. I can answer questions about that as well. The great thing is you guys have already, which is now, attended the webinar, so you can check that off your list. Aurelio and Bridget both have mentioned about checking your email. So definitely on a regular basis, check your email, and definitely check it now just to see if you have any verification documents or anything you might need to complete. If there's any online ebooks that you need to, make sure you do that. And download the EAB navigation app. That's really important as well. That'll also help you stay connected. And I actually have, I don't think I meant to show you that, but download, this is what I'm referring to right now. So download the navigation app. So it's definitely a place for you where you can get reminders as far as with your advisor. You can schedule appointments with your advisors. You can discover resources. You can see your class schedule, explore your major. It's just a really important app to have as an NO student. So even right now, if you're not using your phone, take some time right now to download the navigation app. Okay. And then also take some time as well to download our social media apps for student engagement. Again, that's another way for that you can always see what we have going on campus. I cannot mention this enough. If you ever have any questions or need assistance with technical difficulties, 24/7, you can always utilize the help desk, and that number is on the screen, and that number is also in D2L as well. If you are free, attend any of our Welcome Week activities that you're interested in as well. So most of them are virtual, so you don't even have to leave your house to attend. So we would love to see you at those events. If you have not connected with your instructor, you can definitely wait. You can definitely do it now or during the first week of school. Just make sure that you connect with your instructor, especially if you are taking a more online class. Just send your instructor just even a quick email, just introducing yourself. And join, if you can, join student organizations. Even as a master's student or a doctoral student, there are still student organizations for you as well, or you're definitely free to start organizations here as well. Participate in campus activities if you can. Find ways to connect with your classmates, if that even be a study group or creating that, and that can be virtually or in person. And then also browse the Career Bridge website. Most of us are here for that next step, and that main step is to graduate and enhance our career. So, why not now start the process of checking out the Career Bridge website so that you can even schedule an appointment with them so they can assist you with just even if it's exploring your major or what can I do now, I've gotten this degree or now I'm getting my master's, what else can I do? And then also, at any time, if you're having problems, you can always connect with learning support. And sometimes, even if you're not having any problems, if you just want to have somebody to just look at your essays or you want to enhance the quality of your essays, you can always connect with learning support to do that. And then last but not least, take some time, even right now, even though you might have already, but why not already schedule your next appointment with your academic advisor and your success coach or your success coach so that you can already begin to plan for either summer quarter or fall quarter when you come back for the next quarter. Okay. So before I open it up, I do want to just ask you all a quick question, and I'm going to use the poll because we want to make sure that at all times this is being utilized for the best way possible, which is to help you guys navigate your experience. So we want to make sure that this is beneficial. So if you guys can just answer the question so that we can make sure that you guys do feel more confident. And if not, I won't be offended. Just stay on and you guys can ask me any questions that you might have. All right, it looks like majority of everyone might have like maybe one or two people. All right, so it seems like most people do feel like this was beneficial. Again, if you're not quite sure yet, that's totally fine. I will definitely stay on. And if you have any questions for me to help you feel more confident doing the modules or attending the webinar, I'm definitely here to answer any questions that you guys might have. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can answer any questions you guys might have.
Can I ask a question about books?
Yes.
I just was looking at the 2 syllabi for the classes and I noticed about 5 books that need to be purchased. So I have a couple questions about if you recommend actual copies or online versions and if we should order them through the school or just wherever we can find them.
I would say, because, in all actuality, of course, we want to make sure what's most economical, for you. So I would say, if you can get it other ways, feel free. I would just say, just make sure if you do get it in other ways, make sure it's the exact copy that you need and it's the same one that you would get from the bookstore.
And get actual physical copies, right?
Honestly, that's up to you. Some people don't have any problems with ebooks. Then some people want physical copies. So I think it's completely up to you. I think it's the best way that you learn. If you can learn with an e-copy and that works perfect for you, that's totally fine. But if you feel like you need more physical copy, then you can seek out a physical copy.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I also put a link in the chat. That's just another way for us to just make sure that we're keeping track of this experience. If everyone can just do that quick survey, it's literally like a question. That would be awesome. And I just put that in the chat.
Is there a link to the online bookstore, the student bookstore?
I can find that and I can put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So while I'm looking for that, is there any more questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So I already got an email that my bill is due like mid-April, but my class doesn't start until May. So if I don't pay it by the due date in the email, am I gonna get a late fee, or is it like Miss Bridget said that you guys are not expecting us to pay it so soon?
Bridget, you want to answer that for her?
Yes, I do. So we will know that, and then if you're using financial aid specifically, the funds will not post until your class begins. So if you're using financial aid and you're like, well, why isn't this posted? She said week 2. It actually is week 2 for everybody, but if your class is that midterm start, then it does post after the class starts. But beyond that, we won't look for a payment if you're paying out of pocket or anything like that. If you're getting reimbursement or something like that, you just, if somebody does ask you, which they shouldn't, but if they do, then you just let them know, like, hey, my class isn't starting today. Back off.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Brandy, I just went ahead and put the link in the chat.
Thank you.
Any more questions, concerns, clarifications? Okay, well, if there's not, again, if everyone could just do that quick survey that I put in the chat, that would be awesome. Again, it's literally one question. It'd probably take you less than a minute. It just wants to get some clarity of just how this experience was for you. So if you can go ahead and do that for me, that would be great. I will put my email in the chat. If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to email me and I can assist you the best way that I can. But if not, thank you so much for joining us. I hope this was very beneficial for you all, and good luck on your spring term, and just good luck during your time here. We wish and hope everyone has a successful spring quarter, and good luck, and have a great evening, and take care. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us. Oh, I'm gonna hop off. Thank you so much, Bridget, for coming on today.
You got it. Talk to you later.
Yeah, if you want to join a little bit later tomorrow, that's totally fine.
I just tapped my way through it because I was like, that's not my camera off because I don't want to look like I'm not paying attention, but I'm 100% not paying.
Okay, yeah, because
So-
that's why I sent you the email. I'm like, well, if you want to join like 5:20, that's totally fine.
You know, plus
Um,
I'm afraid I'll forget. Like, I'm really afraid of that. So I was like, okay, so that's
Okay.
fine. I just keep on over here. So
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted me to add to that, or is that totally fine?
that's fine for now. Well, because I'm in that presentation is in the modules, right? Like
Yeah,
my
you guys
big
have a
long
presentation in the module.
Yeah, so then that's totally fine. I mean, I might add something like someday, or not add, but adjust, but not this week. So that works.
Okay, perfect. All right,
Thank
well,
you.
thank you so much. I'll
See you
talk with you
tomorrow.
soon. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.